a canceled project, a huge sale, and 7.2 came out, so you know what that means. It's gonna be a lot of bitching. Hey, it's bringing you the World of Warcraft. It is definitely March 31st, 2017. This is Warcraft Weekly, where I grab all my favorite news and kind of regurgitate it and spit it back at you like a mother bird. I think we have a lot to talk about today, so let's recap really quick. Last week I asked you folks, how was your week today? And I got a lot of cool responses, and on top of that, I decided to hold a little contest or a little drawing, based on whatever the heck comments that were on that video. It didn't matter if you were sharing the story or not, but I do have a winner. The winner is going to receive enough gold to purchase a WoW token, and the winner is Zubo. So I'm gonna message that person, let them know that hey, they're the big winner, and try to get them that gold. If I don't hear from them in a couple days, though, I'm gonna pass it off to another winner. I haven't chosen who that person is yet, but we'll see how that goes. But congratulations to Zubo. He basically said, hey, this week I leveled my third alt to 110, and I resubscribed to your channel. Awesome news. You resubscribed, so that means you signed. So that means you weren't, or like you were like, ah, fuck this guy. I don't want to listen to this guy's garbage anymore. I'm gonna unsubscribe to this guy as a protest, and then you come back because it's like, oh, I'm just messing with you. It's cool. But I do love hearing a good story. I'd love to see you guys and girls continue to share your stories. Let me know how your week was. I'm not going to do a contest on this right now, but of course, share your thoughts and all that. As for my week, oh man, roll the clip.
Alright, we need those.
Run away?
I don't think we got enough.
Yeah, whoever hasn't Silk Souls, jump into the well.
We can't because we got souls. We got storm.
I can soak some more. Oh shit,
Hold on.
died.
He's at 1%, dude. 35 million.
Oh god.
Oh, get it, guys.
Oh, come on, boys.
Get it.
Why am I
We got a
so
battle
slow?
royale. Go.
We don't.
Get it, boys.
Got it. Come on.
What, so you tanked it this long before?
Come on, Mary, heal your ass off.
By the powers of the shaman.
Fucking yeah, baby. Get it.
0.2, 0.1.
Yeah.
Oh,
We got a legendary.
Congrats, bro.
Best fucking holy legendary.
Good work. Alright. We just gave you guys
So yeah, I had a good week. We finally got Heroic Gul'dan down. My guild can kind of take a little bit of a break. We can start leveling alts, goofing around, having a guild race. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So that pretty much summed up my week. Overall, it was pretty cool. How was yours? I have a new series called Casual Gold. It's where I just made a Lobby tune, and I'm just trying to get by as a super professional inscriptionist scribe person, and well, I'm just trying to get by. I also did a piece on how to possibly resolve the Titanforging situation that's going to come once Tomb of Sargeras comes up. And finally, I answered the kind of age-old question on how to possibly choose your class or spec or role in the World of Warcraft. So I brought in my experience as a guildmaster and a raid leader, and I shared my thoughts on it. Alright, so for a quick PSA, there is a massive sale going on at the Blizzard gear store. At least right now. It started going on, I think, yesterday. I'm not quite sure how long it's going to go on. I didn't really get a good chance to see it, but it's a clearance sale. There's stuff going for like at least half off, some stuff even more. There's like plushies going for I think like under 10 bucks, posters, giant posters that are going for a little over 10 bucks. Even things like, I think there was like that big old Bulwark of Azeroth backpack sort of thing that used to go for 100 bucks. I think that was cut in half too. It's a pretty crazy sale, so just grab whatever the heck you can right now. Bellular Gaming, which is one of the largest World of Warcraft related channels, started an really ambitious project called Warcraft Tales. This was going to be a retelling of what could possibly have been the entire World of Warcraft series, using professional voice work with a fresh look and UI and new interface options, like the whole shebang. Unfortunately though, the Blizzard legal team had to shut that down. It turns out that changing the scope of the game at that level from a single source is, I guess, too big of a change. And that's super unfortunate. I mean, you look at Bellular's face, it looks like he's damn near crying. And you know what? I'd be really, really upset too. Of course, we don't know all the details about it yet. It looks like Bellular is going to eventually release like footage or just kind of do a piece on everything that the project was supposed to be. But I mean, I don't know if he had if he had his own legal team that was talking with Blizzard and trying to hash things out, or if he talked to them at all. And he did in fact just kind of rely on the precedent that the World of StarCraft add-on, I think that's what it's called, how that was something that was heavily promoted by Blizzard, but Warcraft Tales, Bellular's project, is definitely not. Unfortunately, and I'm just injecting my opinion here, I'm not a legal person at all, but I imagine that StarCraft is a very, very, very heavily mod-based game. I mean, we see lots of different crazy projects that come out of that. I mean, hell, Dota came out of that. At the same time, while the World of Warcraft does have a very large modding community, as you can see on like curse.com or the other websites that host these add-ons, I'm at least a little bit skeptical about the ability to just kind of revamp the entire experience of the game with voiceovers, huge interface changes that basically make WoW look like an entirely different game. Now that said, mods on their own possibly can make this look like an entirely different game, but I guess packaging all of this into one single thing might not have been the best idea. I don't know. Maybe this could have been a thing if they released it in kind of subversive packages, where it's like, okay, this, here's the interface pack, which is downloadable as well, and I'll try to link to that too. And like, here's a possible voice pack, and I think that was probably the most contested thing. It might have been like, well, maybe Blizzard's legal team has something against the kind of spirit of voiceovers, even if it was like really professionally done voiceovers, it kind of threatens to change the identity of the game if people kind of think about the experience that they've had using Warcraft Tales, and then they, that just kind of sticks into their head. So when they hear, like, let's say Jaina Proudmoore again, and they hear that she sounds different from what Warcraft Tales would sound like, they'd be like, oh, girl don't sound right. Circling back though, the intention, or the spirit of what was trying to be done with this Warcraft Tales project, that's something that I'd support too. I think it's pretty cool. I think it'd be something that Blizzard can eventually do, if they did happen to like retool or revamp the early experience in WoW. But it just sucks. I really feel bad for Bellular. If you're watching, boom, fist bump, I feel for you, dude. I hope that, whatever the heck other projects that you decide to work on are more successful. As for the rest of you folks, if you've heard or kind of tried to follow the project, did it interest you? Was it something that that you would want to do? Would you actually want to go back and level up again just to, get a fresh and new experience out of it? Share your thoughts. 7.2 is out, and I'm going to talk about that bitching about it in just a moment. But first, 7.2.5 seems to be in the horizon. There were a couple of blue posts regarding rogues specifically, and there were a couple references, to a 7.2.5 patch. I'm like, ooh. Players that were hoping that their favorite class and spec was going to get a nerf or a rebalance or a fix in 7.2 were pretty disappointed because they specifically said that major patches weren't going to be about that, but whatever. But hey, 7.2.5 is something to look forward to. I'm not looking forward to trying to cover another freaking patch, but oh well. Just keep your thumb to the wind for that one. So yeah, 7.2. 7.2 feels unique. I mean, I've covered a number of patches now, and I've played through a lot more patches, but man, this is the first time that I've seen, man, this bitching is like, it's palpable. It's like, it's sticky. It's pretty gross. So I'm going to focus on two things that the community has been pretty loud about, and that is the time gating and the item level scaling. Before that though, there are some pretty legitimate bugs that I at least wanted to point out that kind of dampened the otherwise the otherwise meaty content that came out of this patch. First off, there were bugs in the Nighthold raid that pretty much stunted progression for a whole lot of players. It was pretty fortunate that my team was able to just extend the save and just go straight to cooldown and finally kill the bastard. But for anyone else that was trying to progress, I mean, they ran into like Ellison and her mysterious invisible rings. Even Gul'dan was bugged because of those little eyeballs with the laser things. They were killing people all of a sudden. Trilliax, I think he was like mind fucking people with his annihilate laser spinny thing. Now for all those problems, that was current / old content content. But going to the Broken Shore, that had its share of problems too. I reported a couple weeks ago when I was trying to do a nether shard farming video. I was like, hey, this is what you do, but hey, you know what? All of a sudden, the drop rate of nether shards and other loot that came from demons that were coming out of Sentinel X portals, that was like nerfed to total dog shit. I was pretty confident that, hey, you know, since that change did happen, hopefully it was just kind of a bug and Blizzard's going to change it back before live. Ha 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 ha. So yeah, folks were left pretty unfulfilled by seeing not a lot of stuff coming out of these Sentinel X portals and the demons that were dropping from them, as well as the rares. And hopefully, and thankfully that's been fixed. And we're gonna see more fixes over time, I'm sure. The other big thing that comes to mind is the Legionfall war supplies, which come at like, you know, a drip 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 kind of trickle, which means that the progression overall when it comes to making those buildings is really it's slow as fuck, man. Since the PTR, and I'm gonna talk about the PTR versus live stuff, you know, a little bit later, but in the PTR, the buildings they build, you know, they would build pretty quick. So from there, it's up to Blizzard to decide, okay, so based on this whole region-wide contribution, what's going to be an acceptable build rate for this? And clearly they were wrong. I mean, on the first day, I think the Mage Tower, which is what the US is trying to build, US realms are trying to build, I think that was only at like, I think 5 or maybe 7%, which was like really depressing. People were like, dude, like, I guess, I'm sure smart asses are like, oh, well, I guess people didn't come back for a 7.2, ha ha ha. And then they just went on playing or, you know, doing whatever. So they adjusted that requirement and now it's all pretty much gravy, except for just kind of that feeling that I can't really contribute very much. Like, it'd be cool if I earned enough supplies that I can make up to like 2 or 3 contributions a day for like an average person. I'm sure like a super no lifer that's like super camping the rares that spawn, they'll probably be able to get like a little bit around that. But I think on average, if a player can make like 3 contributions a day, you know, at a normal play level, I think that would kind of feel better when it comes to, hey, you know, I did something, you know, I did something to help my team, my region, and all that. It goes all the way back to the Encourage days when people were dumping in silk and linen and rune cloth. Well, I forget what it was called now, but then players of all levels were able to contribute, you know, however they could into this war efforts. And I think it'd be cool that if players at different play styles and play levels could be able to contribute in their own way to, I don't know, I think it would just feel better if we can contribute more, even if the actual rate that the buildings are being built was left the same. So now for this time gating and item level scaling stuff. In my opinion, if you don't read the news, if you didn't keep track of MMO Champion and Wowhead and forums and all that stuff, if you just logged in and played the game, hell, if you just logged in and played the game like today, for the first time, you just loaded up the patch, you're not going to notice a goddamn thing. You're not going to notice shit. I'm not going to say something like most players, but I'm going to say that there are a number of players that just don't keep up with the latest news and updates and analyses and whatever. You know, they just log in and play the game, and they're going to see, well, I guess let me describe what's going on, what the community is talking about right now. 7.2's out, and thanks to, I guess, the PTR and the experiences that testers have had on there, the expectation was set that as soon as you land, you'd be able to do like the Legionfall campaign, you'd be able to progress through, you'd be able to, and I fell for this too, you'd be able to start immediately upgrading your order hall and powering up followers and all that stuff. But it turns out, nah, you're gonna have to wait a little bit. Basically, 7.2 does have a lot of content to do, but they're just kind of pacing it out in such a way that like normally we would have a patch and all of a sudden it'd be like a hammer to the face. There would be a ton of different things to do. Most of the time we'd feel kind of overwhelmed as to like all the different things that all the different directions that we'd be pulled in. Kind of like how it was when Legion first started. When we got to level 110, there were a lot of different things that we can do. We could do world quests, we could do Suramar, we can start farming dungeons, or we could start progressing, in all sorts of in all sorts of different ways. With 7.2 coming out, all those directions that we had to go, they're still there. There are still Mythic Plus dungeons to do. There is still a raid to progress through unless you're a total badass. There are still world quests, and now, you know, the whole reputation thing, where you do a certain number of quests, you get a certain amount of rep, and then you get a goodie bag or whatever. All that stuff is still there. And then on top of that, there's like the layered campaign that's going to come out over time. But man, I don't know. It's just that, like, forums and such, it's been bad. I haven't seen it this bad before, and to be perfectly honest, I don't know why. People coming out of the woodwork like, oh my god, I can't believe that Blizzard's doing this. Why are they gating this content? You know, we just got this patch and you're giving us like absolutely nothing to do, as if we've never had this kind of experience before. Like I guess in Warlords, oh, we never had that kind of time gating in Warlords. Or in Mist of Pandaria, no, we were able to do everything that we wanted to do whenever we wanted to, and there was no time gating there. Or in Cataclysm, no, we didn't have to wait. Well, okay, I don't really remember Cataclysm too well. I don't remember if... Oh, yeah, there was a damn Molten Front. We had to wait for that kind of stuff too. Heck, even in Wrath of the Lich King, we had to wait for each wing of the damn raid in Icecrown Citadel to open up. That was kind of a bummer. And it goes all the way back to BC with the Isle of Quel'Thanas and, you know, the whole progressive zone. We had to kind of wait for things to happen. So this is nothing new, folks. And I don't... Like, people are just kind of going crazy about it. But the time gating stuff, well, I call it pacing. I don't think that stuff is bad at all. It's just what Blizzard decided. They've been doing it for a decade. I don't think there's I don't think there's a lot of critique warranted for it. I guess as a WoW YouTube content creator kind of person, I think it does kind of burn me a little bit that the PTR experience is like so vastly different from the live experience. But it's, well, okay, maybe it's not so much that it's different, but it's not that we're told that, hey, you know, the PTR, yeah, I know that when you first walk in, you're going to be able to upgrade your Order Hall advancement stuff. You're able to do your class campaign stuff. Sorry, you're able to do your class campaign stuff right away. But hey, just so you PTR people know, the deployment schedule on this is not finalized. You might expect there to be a sort of like wait time between when this module is going to be available on live servers, and so on and so forth. I think that kind of communication would have been appreciated, so that way folks like me and the many other people that do like patch previews and whatnot, that we know a little bit ahead of time, so that way we don't end up spreading what's basically misinformation, and ultimately kind of give a bad experience to players once they hit live servers and they're like, okay, well, I wanted to do all this thing that Soul and Mad Season and Bellular, I want to do all the things that they were talking about. I can't freaking do it. What's going on, Blizzard? You know, that kind of result sucks, and I think if Blizzard kind of takes that to heart and lets PTR folks know, or at least, you know, make it known in like patch notes a little bit more ahead of time. So I guess I'll circle back. I think if we just know in the PTR that, hey, this is something that we can expect, cool. Going forward for me though, I'll definitely say something about that too. It's like, hey, you know what, the experience, not only am I going to say, hey, everything might change, but hey, we don't know how to expect this. It might be delivered in a way that we don't expect. As for the item level scaling though, I guess it just kind of depends. So let me tell you my experience on this. I didn't notice the item level scaling at all. I just jumped into the broken shore and I was like, I'm just gonna break shit, and so I did. I just wrecked everything on the PTR, where apparently it was already there, as well as live. I just jumped in and started doing work. It wasn't until I was told, hey, did you hear about the whole item level scaling thing? And I'm like, no, I didn't hear about it. So, and then, you know, they mentioned, oh yeah, it scales based on your item level now. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't notice the damn thing. So I did some experiments. Turns out that I think after item level 850, that's when you start seeing mob health grow, and my item level right now is 900. So when I took off like a major piece of equipment, the health of a mob just instantly went down, and that's a bug. That wasn't what Blizzard intended at all. But I saw that that the mob had a lot less health. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But I'm still gonna like two-shot it as a tank, by the way. Yeah, I'm still gonna wreck this thing, and it's still barely gonna hurt me, because even if it does do 30% whatever more damage, I'm still a freaking tank. It's not a big deal. Going back to what I said earlier, I think that if the average player didn't read the news or otherwise pay attention, I have a feeling that they wouldn't even really notice much going on, and that's kind of the point. Now, the deployment of this whole item level scaling thing, that's a little bit more dubious and a little bit deceptive on Blizzard's part. But I do understand why they went about the way that they did it. I think back to the whole item squish and how that produced so much useless conversation about what the number squish means, and how it's going to be relative to player power, and there are a lot of folks, including myself, that it's like, dude, it's just numbers, like just change it to percentages and you're not going to notice. Or what I do, or what I did at the time, I just turned numbers off. I'm not going to care. I'm still 3-shot in a mob. Cool, that's fine by me. And that was Blizzard's intention. You weren't really supposed to feel the difference, and that's pretty much how it is now. The whole idea of, hey, I can take this equipment off and and the mob is weaker, that doesn't quite make sense to me, as long as Blizzard follows the paradigm of you still are more powerful than whatever the hell it is that you're killing in the outdoor world. If I, as a character, become like 10% stronger, and that translates to mobs in the outdoor world becoming like 2 or 3% stronger, guess what? I'm still stronger. I guess what I'm trying to say by that is that if Blizzard just did the item squish and didn't say anything until like right when it happened, assuming that all their testing was solid and they didn't need external testing on our part to do it, I think there wouldn't be a whole lot of complaining, and there would be a lot less energy wasted. If they announced that they were going to do this whole item level scaling like months ago, it would be non-stop bitching. There would be like endless debate, useless conversation, more dumb videos that are talking about this subject, and not much in the actual application of the changes. Like knowing too far in advance of this change in part of players. If they knew it too well in advance, that kind of like skews the input, because people that are unhappy about it, they're like, oh well, I'm gonna grumble about this, and they start like testing it when that actually comes out. They're probably gonna like bitch even more about it, because they'll be like, oh, this doesn't feel right, so that vindicates my feelings. And I just think it works out better this way, even if it turns out that Blizzard's like, okay, you know what, this experiment kind of sucks, meh. When they take it out, and they said that they can stop this if they wanted to, just like that. Critics are saying that it should not take longer to kill a mob just because you have good gear, and that doesn't make sense to me, because you have good gear. You should be able, you should be killing the mob a little bit faster, and the difference that you're seeing is because of the actual change. If item level scaling always existed in Legion, people probably wouldn't notice, because they would always see that you're always still getting stronger than the mobs are. You're still pulling away a little bit faster. The idea here, though, is that at the max level, you're not just like 1-2-shot mobs, and otherwise a fresh character isn't coming in and being like, holy hell, I can't kill a damn thing, because people are just wiping stuff out. And even like the faster respawn rate of mobs, whenever there are too many people around killing stuff, that just makes things worse. Flight would make this even worse too. You just have people kind of dipping in and then zipping out, and they just blow everything up, and then they leave, and that leaves the plebs. This leaves like lobby characters just in 850 gear being like, whoa, what the fuck? I don't have a chance. I can't kill anything, because these burly guys and girls are just wiping everything out, and that's not fun. Basically, imagine if level scaling didn't exist. If there were like level 100 mobs for lobbies and then 110 mobs for whatever, but world quests still existed. And as a level 110 world quest, you had to go down to this level 100 area, wipe out a bunch of mobs that other people that are trying to level, they're trying to kill, and you're just like destroying them. That kind of messes with the experience, and that's pretty much the point of what this item level scaling is about. The experience on the Broken Shore and the Broken Isles themselves, it still needs to feel natural with regards to like lower level players to max level players, as well as lower geared players and higher geared players. A lower geared player is still going to take longer to kill a certain mob than the higher item level player would, even regardless of the scaling, because your gear is that much stronger. And that's the whole point that Blizzard's trying to make. And like the people that are being really loud about it, I think that straight up they're overreacting. You're hella tripping. I don't think it's healthy to be spouting off in my opinion, it's nonsense. I'm sorry, folks. I respect a lot of the folks that that have their own opinions and all that, but respectfully, you're hella wrong. I guess in conclusion, item level scaling, in my opinion, is good. It is a healthy way to prevent weird situations where you have such huge gear disparities, and that goes into a different conversation unto itself. The approach and the methodology in which they kind of stealth put this in with the patch, that's a little bit more questionable, but when I think about it, I think that is the best way that they could have deployed it. Otherwise, they would have wasted a lot of energy talking with players, which isn't normally a bad thing. It is good for developers and players to have a good conversation about things, but I think that it would have contaminated the conversation if they just even introduced the idea. And players, gave all this different kind of wacky input. I think it's better to just kind of plop it into players' laps, and from there, at least have the knobs available to do adjustments as they have been doing to make it feel more natural. And in the end, if it doesn't work out, just like they had said, they'll get rid of it. So that's the news. And I do apologize to anyone that might feel like offended or burned by the fact that I might hella disagree with them about how the 7.2 deployment has went. I think it's flawed, just like anything else. But at the same time, I don't feel that Blizzard's intent here was bad at all. I think they meant to do the right thing, and I think that they are. It's just a matter of a little bit of tweaking, reiteration, bug fixing. Pretty please, Blizzard, bug fixing. But overall, I'm pretty good with the patch right now. And as for like the time gating, wait next week, more things are going to happen, and the following week, more things are going to happen. I think the pacing is cool. With regards to the item level scaling, that's just something that we're going to have to maybe live with for a while. But hey, if you have a strong opinion about it, share it below. I don't mind talking with you guys about it. I'd love to respectfully disagree with you without having to resort to personal attacks or anything like that. So I'm gonna do my best to get more content out for you. I mean, I got a podcast that's gonna come up. I haven't done a WoW YouTuber channel in quite some time, so I promise I'm gonna get that out really soon. I'm gonna get off my ass and finish those pally tanking videos with regards to the raids, and then move on to like mythics. The new mythic, the new dungeon. It feels kind of challenging right now. I'm sure it'll get easier as I get used to it, but it's a lot of fun, by the way. And then of course there is whatever the hell that I think of, and I'm gonna try to share some of my thoughts on that on a future channel update video, which is going to be more positive than what it usually is, for reasons that you will understand soon. So anyway, I am out of here. You guys have a terrific weekend. Again, if you feel like it, share your thoughts. Let me know how your week was. I'd love to hear from you. As always, you can follow me on like Twitch and Twitter and Facebook and blah blah blah. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Watch my raids, watch us suffer. Watch us next Tuesday. They're definitely going to suffer. So I'm out for the weekend. Again, you guys have a good one. And yeah, I'm Soul. Stay breezy, guys. Bo-ba-do.